Good morning, family, and thank you so much for joining us for this week's scripture reading. And this week we'll be reading from Exodus chapter 13, verse 17, through chapter 17, verse 16, Judges chapter 4, verses 4 through chapter 5, verse 31, and John chapter 6, verses 15 through 71. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Elohim led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For Elohim said, Lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt. But Elohim led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Yasharel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt. And Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn the children of Yasharel, saying, Elohim will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away hence with you. And they took their journey from Succoth, and encamped in Etham, in the edge of the wilderness. And Yahuwah went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud, and led them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire, to give them light, to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharel, that they turn and encamp before Pihahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon. Before it shall ye encamp by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the children of Yasharel, They are entangled in the land, the wilderness hath shut them in. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh, and upon all his hosts, that the Egyptians may know that I am Yahuwah. And they did so. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Yasharel go from serving us? And he made ready his chariot, and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over every one of them. And Yahuwah hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Yasharel. And the children of Yasharel went out with a high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them, encamping by the sea, beside Pihahiroth, before Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Yasharel lifted up their eyes, and beheld, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Yasharel cried out unto Yahuwah. And they said unto Moshe, Because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moshe said unto the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahuwah, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Yahuwah shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Yasharel that they go forward, but lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it, and the children of Yasharel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the angel of Elohim, which went before the camp of Yasharel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Yasharel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahuwah caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Yasharel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued, and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning watch Yahuwah looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire of the cloud, and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, that they drave them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Yasharel, for Yahuwah fighteth for them against the Egyptians. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Stretch out thine hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. And Moshe stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and Yahuwah overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned, and covered the chariots, and the horsemen, and all the hosts of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Yasharel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus Yahuwah saved Yasharel that day out of the land of the Egyptians, and Yasharel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Yasharel saw that great work which Yahuwah did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared Yahuwah, and believed Yahuwah, and his servant Moshe. Then sang Moshe and the children of Yasharel this song unto Yahuwah, and spake, saying, I will sing unto Yahuwah, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he hath thrown into the sea. Yahuwah is my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. He is my Elohim, and I will prepare him an habitation, my father's Elohim, and I will exalt him. Yahuwah is a man of war. Yahuwah is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts hath he cast into the sea. His chosen captains also are drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them. They sank into the bottom as a stone. Thy right hand, O Yahuwah, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Yahuwah, hath dashed in pieces the enemy. And in the greatness of thine excellency thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee. Thou sentest forth thy wrath, which consumed them as stubble. And with the blast of thy nostrils the waters were gathered together. The flood stood upright as an heap, and the depths were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind, the sea covered them, they sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, O Yahuwah, among the Elohim? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Thou stretchest out thy right hand, the earth swallowed them. Thou in thy mercy hast led forth the people, which thou hast redeemed. Thou hast guided them in thy strength unto thy holy habitation. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants of Canaan. Then the dukes of Edom shall be amazed. The mighty men of Moab, trembling, shall take hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Fear and dread shall fall upon them. By the greatness of thine arm they shall be as still as a stone, till thy people pass over, O Yahuwah, till the people pass over which thou hast purchased. Thou shalt bring them in, and plant them in the mountain of thine inheritance, in the place, O Yahuwah, which thou hast made for thee to dwell in the sanctuary, O Yahuwah, which thy hands have established. Yahuwah shall reign forever and ever. For the horse of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea, and Yahuwah brought again the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Yasharel went on dry land in the midst of the sea. And Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hands, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, Sing ye to Yahuwah, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. So Moshe brought Yasharel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness, and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moshe, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried unto Yahuwah, and Yahuwah showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them, and said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I brought upon the Egyptians, for I am Yahuwah that healeth thee. And they came to Elim, where there were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Yasharel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Yasharel murmured against Moshe and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Yasharel said unto them, Would to Elohim we had died by the hand of Yahuwah in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Then said Yahuwah unto Moshe, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my Torah or no. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moshe and Aaron said unto all the children of Yasharel, At even, then ye shall know that Yahuwah hath brought you out from the land of Egypt. And in the morning Then ye shall see the kavod of Yahuwah, for that he heareth your murmurings against Yahuwah. And what are we, that ye murmur against us? And Moshe said, This shall be when Yahuwah shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For that Yahuwah heareth your murmurings, which you murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Yahuwah. And Moshe spake unto Aaron, Say unto all the congregation of the children of Yasharel, Come near before Yahuwah, for he hath heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Yasharel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the kavod of Yahuwah appeared in the cloud. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Yasharel. Speak unto them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up, and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoar frosts on the ground. And when the children of Yasharel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moshe said unto them, This is the bread which Yahuwah hath given you to eat. This is the thing which Yahuwah hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Yasharel did so, and gathered some more and some less. And when he did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moshe said, Let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moshe. But some of them left it until the morning, and it bred worms, and stank. And Moshe was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. And he said unto them, This is that which Yahuwah hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the Kadosh Shabbat unto Yahuwah. Bake that which ye will bake today, and seed that ye will seed, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. And they laid it up until the morning as Moshe bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worms therein. And Moshe said, Eat that today, for today is a Shabbat unto Yahuwah. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my Torah? See, for that Yahuwah hath given you the Shabbat. Therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Yasharel called the name thereof manna. And it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. And Moshe said, This is the thing which Yahuwah commanded. Fill an omer of it to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread wherewith I have fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt. And Moshe said unto Aaron, Take a pot, and put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it up before Yahuwah, to be kept for your generations. As Yahuwah commanded Moshe, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony, to be kept. And the children of Yasharel did eat manna 40 years, until they came to a land inhabited. They did eat manna until they came unto the borders of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is the 10th part of an ephah. And all the congregation of the children of Yasharel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys according to the commandments of Yahuwah, and pitched in Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses. Wherefore the people did chide with Moshe, and said, Give us water that we may drink. And Moshe said unto them, Why chide ye with me? Wherefore do you tempt Yahuwah? And the people thirsted there for water. And the people murmured against Moshe, and said, Wherefore is this, that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt, to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? And Moshe cried unto Yahuwah, saying, What shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Go on before the people, and take with thee of the elders of Yasharel, and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river, take in thine hand, and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moshe did so in the sight of the elders of Yasharel. And he called the name of the place Massa and Meribah, because of the chiding of the children of Yasharel, and because they tempted Yahuwah, saying, Is Yahuwah among us or not? Then came Amalek, and fought with Yasharel in Rephidim. And Moshe said unto Yahushua, Choose us out men, and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of Elohim in mine hand. So Yahushua did as Moshe had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moshe, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass, when Moshe held up his hand, that Yasharel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moshe's hands were heavy, and they took a stone, and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Yahushua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Yahushua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moshe built an altar, and called the name of it Yahuwah Nisi. For he said, Because Yahuwah hath sworn that Yahuwah will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Judges chapter 4, verse 4. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Yasharel at that time, and she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Yasharel came up to her for judgment. And she sent and called Barak the son of Abinoam out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, Hath not Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharel commanded, saying, Go, and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali, and of the children of Zebulun? And I will draw unto thee to the river Kishon Sisera, the captain of Habin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand. And Barak said unto her, If thou wilt go up with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. And she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor, for Yahuwah shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah went up with him. Now Eber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moshe, had severed himself from the Kenites, and pitched his tent unto the plain of Zaanaim, which is by Kadesh. And they showed Sisera that Barak the son of Abinoam was gone up to Mount Tabor. And Sisera gathered together all his chariots, even 900 chariots of iron, and all the people that were with him, from Harabshes unto the Gentiles unto the river of Kishon. And Deborah said unto Barak, Up, for this is the day in which Yahuwah hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not Yahuwah gone out before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. And Yahuwah discomfited Sisera, and all his chariots, and all his hosts, with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down off his chariot, and fled away on his feet. But Barak pursued after the chariots, and after the hosts, unto Harosheth of the Gentiles, and all the hosts of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Eber the Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Eber the Kenite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera, and said unto him, Turn in, my Adon, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And he said unto her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk, and gave him drink, and covered him. Again he said unto her, Stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, Is there any man here? That thou shalt say, No. Then Jael, Eber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took an hammer in her hand, and went slothfully unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary. So he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him, and said unto him, Come, and I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temples. So Elohim subdued on that day Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the children of Yasharel. And the hand of the children of Yasharel prospered, and prevailed against Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin, king of Canaan. Then sang Deborah and Barak, the son of Abinoam, on that day, saying, Praise ye Yahuwah for the avenging of Yasharel, when the people willingly offered themselves. Hear, O ye kings, give ear, O ye princes. I, even I, will sing unto Yahuwah. I will sing praises to Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharel. Yahuwah, when thou wentest out of Seir, and when thou marchest out of the field of Edom, the earth trembled, and the heavens dropped, the clouds also dropped water. The mountains melted before Yahuwah, even that Sinai, from before Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharel. In the days of Shamgar, the son of Anath, in the days of Jael, the highways were unoccupied, and the travelers walked through byways. The inhabitants of the villages ceased. They ceased in Yasharel until that I, Deborah, arose, that I arose a mother in Yasharel. They chose new Elohim. Then was war in the gates. Was there a shield or spear seen among 40,000 in Yasharel? My heart is toward the governors of Yasharel, that offered themselves willingly among the people. Bless ye Yahuwah. Speak, ye that ride on white asses, ye that sit in judgment, and walk by the way. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahuwah, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Yasharel. Then shall the people of Yahuwah go down to the gates. Awake, awake, Deborah, awake, awake, utter a song. Arise, Barak, and lead thy captivity captive, thou son of Abinoam. Then he made him that remaineth have dominion over the nobles among the people. Yahuwah made me have dominion over the mighty. Out of Ephraim was there a root of them against Amalek. After thee, Benjamin, among thy people, out of Machir came down governors, and out of Zebulun they that handle the pen of the writer. And the princes of Issachar were with Deborah, even Issachar, and also Barak. He was sent on foot into the valley. For the divisions of Reuben there were great thoughts of heart. Why abodest thou among the sheepfolds, to hear the bleatings of the flocks? For the divisions of Reuben there were great searchings of heart. Gilead abode beyond Jordan. And why did Dan remain in ships? Asher continued on the seashore, and abode in his breaches. Zebulun and Naphtali were a people that jeoparded their lives unto the death in the high places of the field. The kings came and fought. Then fought the kings of Canaan in Tanakh, by the waters of Megiddo. They took no gain of money. They fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. The river of Kishon swept them away, that ancient river, the river Kishon. O my soul, thou hast trodden down strength, when there the horse hooves broken by the means of the prancings of their mighty ones. Curse ye Meroz, said the angel of Yahuwah, curse ye bitterly the inhabitants thereof, because they came not to the help of Yahuwah against the mighty. Blessed above women shall Jael the wife of Eber the Kenite be. Blessed shall she be above women in the tent. He asked water, and she gave him milk. She brought forth butter in a lordly dish. She put her hand to the nail, and her right hand to the workman's hammer. And with the hammer she smote Sisera. She smote off his head, when she had pierced and stricken through his temples. At her feet he bowed. He fell. He lay down. At her feet he bowed. He fell. Where he bowed, there he fell down dead. The mother of Sisera looked out at a window and cried through the lattice, Why is his chariot so long in coming? Why tarry the wheels of his chariots? Her wise ladies answered her, Yea, she returned answer to herself. Have they not sped? Have they not divided the prey? To every man a damsel or two, to Sisera a prey of diverse colors of needlework, on both sides, meat for the necks of them that take the spoil. So let all thine enemies perish, O Yahuwah, but let them that love him be as the sun when he goeth forth in his might. And the land had rest 40 years. John chapter 6, verse 15. When Yahusha therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain himself alone. And when even was now come, his disciples went down unto the sea, and entered into a ship, and went over the sea toward Capernaum. And it was now dark, and Yahusha was not come to them. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. So when they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs, they see Yahusha walking on the sea, and drawing nigh unto the ship, and they were afraid. But he said unto them, It is I, be not afraid. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land whither they went. The day following, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was none other boat there save the one whereunto his disciples were entered, and that Yahusha went not with his disciples into the boat, but that his disciples were gone away alone. Howbeit there came other boats from Tiberias nigh unto the place where they did eat bread, after that Yahuwah had given thanks. When the people therefore saw that Yahusha was not there, neither his disciples, they also took shipping, and came to Capernaum, seeking for Yahusha. And when they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said unto him, Rabbi, when camest thou hither? Yahusha answered them and said, Verily, verily, I say unto you, you seek me not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him hath Elohim the Father sealed. Then said they unto him, What shall we do, that we might work the works of Elohim? Yahusha answered and said unto them, This is the work of Elohim, that you believe on him whom he hath sent. They said therefore unto him, What sign showest thou then, that we may see and believe thee? What dost thou work? Our fathers did eat manna in the desert, as it is written, He gave them bread from heaven to eat. Then Yahusha said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, Moshe gave you not that bread from heaven, but my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of Elohim is he which cometh down from heaven, and giveth life unto the world. Then said they unto him, Adon evermore, give us this bread. And Yahusha said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. But I said unto you, that ye also have seen me, and believe not. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. For I came down from heaven, not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will, which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son, and believeth on him, may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. The Yahudim then murmured at him, because he said, I am the bread which came down from heaven. And they said, Is not this Yahusha, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I came down from heaven? Yahusha therefore answered and said unto them, Murmur not among yourselves. No man can come to me except the Father, which hath sent me, draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall be all taught of Elohim. Every man therefore that hath heard and hath learned of the Father cometh unto me. Not that any man hath seen the Father, save he which is of Elohim, he hath seen the Father. Verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me hath everlasting life. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness, and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof, and not die. I am the living bread, which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. The Yahudim therefore strove among themselves, saying, How can this man give us his flesh to eat? Then Yahushua said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man, and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh, and drinketh my blood, hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh, and drinketh my blood, dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna, and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. These things said he in the synagogue, and he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, This is an hard saying, who can hear it? When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, Doth this offend you? What if ye shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Ruach that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach, and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not, for Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not, and who should betray him. And he said, Therefore said I unto you, that no man can come unto me, except it were given unto him of my Father. From that time many of his disciples went back, and walked no more with him. Then said Yahushua unto the 12, Will you also go away? Then Simon Peter answered him, Adon, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life, and we believe and are sure that thou art that Hamashiach, the Son of the living Elohim. Yahushua answered them, Have not I chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? He spake of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for he it was that should betray him, being one of the 12. Thank you so much for joining us. Shabbat Shalom.